You're about to hear an original HFY sci-fi tale titled Alien Empire Shocked Humans Have More. This can't be real. HFY, a short sci-fi story. Find a quiet spot, put on your headphones, and let the stars fall silent. If you enjoy cinematic sci-fi narrations, consider subscribing for more. Now we begin. The first thing the Empire ever saw of humanity was not a fleet, not a beacon, not even a transmission. It was a scream. A raw, radio-warped, static-laced scream that burst from the void between dead stars, a desperate cry carried across light years. For 3 full galactic cycles, the Empire of Solith had monitored the noise, dismissing it as another dying civilization on the fringe of the Orion Arm. Civilizations died all the time, but this one did not fade. The scream turned into a song, the song into a code, and the code into a message that no empire had ever expected to hear from a world so young. We're still here. Those 3 words became the most unsettling in the galactic tongue. The Solith Empire stretched across 400 star systems, an empire of silence and obedience, where every species had long ago accepted the inevitability of assimilation. When their scouts first charted Sol, the human home system, they expected the same routine, a few centuries of resistance, followed by surrender, integration, and the eventual erasure of another culture. But Sol was quiet, too quiet. The Empire's vanguard arrived expecting to find a pre-industrial world. What they found instead was a planet already scarred by wars, surrounded by satellites, humming with the cold light of reactors, and filled with eyes that looked back through the void. Humanity had seen them coming before they had even crossed the Kuiper Belt. The first Solith fleet entered the system with arrogance. 30 carriers, 100 destroyers, 1,000 drones. A force so massive it could sterilize continents without slowing down. They didn't expect resistance. They found it anyway. From the frozen plains of Mars to the cloud-wrapped storms of Venus, humans had built defenses in secret. They called it the home chain. A lattice of orbital cannons, automated mines, and stealth fleets that waited in the shadow of the sun. When the first Solith dreadnought ignited its fusion lances, the home chain woke. The void lit up like dawn. Thousands of beams tore through the black. The first human ships, the UNS Arkansas, the Mistral, the Kochab line, launched from Earth's shadow and plunged straight into the teeth of the invasion. They had no faster-than-light drives, no shielding beyond magnetic storms, no bio-armor. They were fragile, outdated, mortal, and yet they fought like something beyond reason. For every Solith ship destroyed, 20 human ones burned, yet they did not retreat. The Empire recorded the transmissions from those dying vessels. They heard laughter, songs, last words whispered into the dark. Tell them we had more. The battle for Sol lasted 9 days. By the end, the Empire had turned Earth's moon into glass, scoured half the orbitals, and burned the Pacific clean. Humanity's fleet was gone, but so was the Solith vanguard. The Empire's own commanders, stunned by the losses, ordered a full withdrawal. They believed it was over. It was not. In the ashes of their world, humanity changed. The survivors dug deep into the planet's crust, building cities of metal and light far beneath the surface. They called them sanctuaries, places where they would wait, heal, and rebuild. The surface became a grave, the sky a tomb. But under the blackened ground, human children were born, and they remembered. A century passed. The Solith Empire forgot. They turned their attention elsewhere, wars of trade, rebellions on the rim, the usual dance of domination. Humanity vanished from their records, a footnote in the archives of conquest. Until one day, a Solith relay on the edge of the Perseus Arm detected a signal. A pulse, the same pattern as before. We're still here. The Empire dispatched a scout fleet, just 12 ships this time. They found nothing where Earth had once been, only debris, silence, and a strange cold star pulsing faintly in orbit. They thought it was a dead beacon, but when they tried to approach, their systems failed. The beacon came alive, a voice echoed through their ships, not transmitted, resonating through the hull itself. You came back. And then nothing. Every ship vanished. Rumors spread. Empires fear what they cannot explain, and the Solith began to whisper about the ghosts of Sol, a lost species that refused to die. The whispers turned into legends. Then the legends turned into warnings. 2 centuries later, when the Empire faced rebellion on a dozen worlds, they encountered them again. The rebels had weapons that no Solith engineer could identify. Bullets that bent around energy shields, ships that could vanish between dimensions, and soldiers who wore banners of blue and white marked with a symbol long thought extinct, a circle crossed by orbit lines. The humans had returned. The Empire's admiral at the time, Varantil, sent a message to his high command. They are impossible. They die and yet multiply. They retreat and yet surround. Every loss becomes a weapon. Every death becomes a memory. It was no exaggeration. Humanity had done what no species had ever attempted. They had turned defeat into data. Every fallen pilot, every burned city, every destroyed ship had been recorded, analyzed, and reborn as part of something larger. The humans called it the Archive, an evolving mind made from memory, built on pain. The Archive guided them, taught them, and spoke for the dead. When Solith forces captured a human vessel, they expected to find soldiers. Instead, they found caretakers, men and women with hollow eyes whispering to invisible voices. One prisoner spoke to his captors before execution. His words were recorded in the Empire's war logs. "You think you've killed us," he said. "You've only made more." The Solith didn't understand. They would. Within 50 years, the rebellion spread. Human enclaves appeared on worlds the Empire had thought secure, from mining moons to ocean colonies. Wherever the Solith cracked down, resistance grew. The humans didn't fight for conquest. They fought for memory. The Empire's science corps began studying them in secret. They found that humans had altered themselves over centuries, physically, genetically, spiritually. Some were adapted for the void, their skin dark as carbon fiber, eyes like dim stars. Others were designed for the abyssal oceans, their lungs reinforced with metallic strands. Still others walked in radiation zones without protection. They were no longer one species. They were 1,000 branches of the same will. And yet when the Solith captured their transmissions, every variant, every adaptation spoke the same words: "We're still here." The Empire began to panic. In the High Council chamber, Empress Thalkira demanded answers. Her advisors presented fragments of intercepted human communication, half corrupted by encryption, but one phrase stood out: "They have more." The Empress leaned forward. "More what?" The intelligence minister trembled. "We don't know, my sovereign. We've destroyed their colonies, their fleets, their worlds, yet every time we believe them finished, more appear." It became a joke among the Solith ranks. The humans have more. But behind the laughter there was fear, because no one knew how. The truth was simple. Humanity had turned survival into mathematics. The Archive had become a seed. Every world they lost left behind a fragment, a machine the size of a grain of sand, capable of replicating itself, learning, rebuilding. When enough fragments gathered, they awakened, reconstructing the minds of those who had fallen. It was not immortality. It was something worse or greater, depending on one's perspective. Humanity had made endurance a form of reproduction. The Empire sent their greatest fleets. They purged system after system, burning worlds until the void itself glowed. But the more they destroyed, the stronger the Archive grew, because every death was data. Every annihilated world was another pattern to learn from. When the Empire unleashed its final weapon, the Star Shroud, a device that consumed suns themselves, the humans responded not with fleets but with silence. For 100 standard years, nothing stirred. No human transmission, no attack. The Empire celebrated. They declared victory. The last of humanity, they said, was gone. Then the stars began to go out. At first it was one, a minor star on the edge of the galactic rim, then another, then 10. The Solith believed it was a cosmic phenomenon until one of their science stations picked up a transmission from the dark. A human voice, quiet and calm. "You took our sun. We learned how." The Empire's astronomers watched in horror as entire constellations vanished. The humans had learned to fold light itself, to hide in the spaces between photons. Their ships traveled not faster than light, but beyond it, slipping through the unseen layers of reality that the Solith hadn't even known existed. They called it the Umbra Drive. When the first of those ships appeared over Solith Prime, no one saw it coming. The sensors detected nothing. Then, in an instant, the sky split open. A single vessel, blacker than shadow, its hull rippling like liquid glass, appeared in orbit. It didn't fire, it simply broadcast a message. "We remember." The Empress ordered every defense battery to open fire. The beams vanished into the ship's hull, swallowed like drops of rain into an ocean. Then the vessel began to sing. It was not music, it was data. A cascade of frequencies that carried every human scream, every loss, every death since the First War. The sound alone shattered half the Empire's satellites. Those who survived said the song changed them, that they saw visions of 1,000 faces, 1,000 lives, all looking back. For 3 days the ship remained silent after that. Then without warning it left. No destruction, no invasion, just silence. The Empire called it mercy. The humans called it a warning. Over the next decades, the Solith Empire began to crumble from within. Entire colonies defected, claiming they had received visions, dreams of oceans, forests, cities that had never existed. Human memories had infected their minds, spreading like a virus across species and generations. The archive was no longer contained to human flesh. It had become something larger. Some called it godlike, others called it a plague. But those who truly listened understood what it was: empathy, weaponized. The final confrontation came 5 centuries after the first scream. The Solith Empire, broken and desperate, gathered what was left of their fleets to defend their homeworld. Across the void, hundreds of human vessels emerged from darkness. Not shining, not majestic, silent, scarred, and patient. The Solith hailed them, begging for negotiation. A single voice answered, not mechanical, not alien, but deeply, achingly human. "We don't come for vengeance, we come to remember." The humans descended not with weapons, but with light. The archive unfolded above Solith Prime like a second sun. Every city, every ship, every soldier saw visions of humanity's history, the rise from dust, the wars, the songs, the endless rebuilding. For a moment, the entire empire lived through human eyes. They felt hunger, fear, love, and hope, and they wept. When the light faded, the Solith saw their fleets untouched. The humans had not destroyed them. They had shown them. Then the archive spoke one last time. Every empire falls, every species fades, but as long as one remembers, we endure. The ships vanished into the void. The Solith never saw them again. Yet sometimes on quiet nights their astronomers still pick up faint transmissions between the stars. A simple pattern, a heartbeat. We're still here. And that day the galaxy learned humanity doesn't conquer, it endures. Headphone, if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more epic HFY sci-fi tales. Until next time, stay human, stay unbroken.